Bertie, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. This is like a part two. We had Aaron here for the Patriot Guard Riders first, and now he's here for the Tail Waggers. But before I get started, I would like to say thank you to my cameraman. Thank you, John. You know that BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and learn how to use cameras, do a show, just come up and visit. It's a wonderful little corner of the world. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Your show turned out so lovely, our first show that we were talking about. Were you pleased, I hope?
That's great, yes.
Oh, I got so many phone calls, truly. And you didn't tell us now, are you a captain or a lieutenant? Do they have different kind of ranks in the...
Patriot Guard Riders? Yes, I'm a ride captain, but I'm also the secretary-treasurer of the whole organization.
Wow. So how do you manage to do all that?
And work.
Yeah.
I don't sleep a lot.
I was gonna say, oh my God, yeah, your mind goes one way, goes the other. I'm having a hard time keeping it straight ahead. So who do you have here today?
This is Spike. He's a 2-year-old Rottweiler, and he's behaving today.
He always behaves.
He does.
So what made you pick this breed?
I've had this breed for 20 years, and I live in a rural area, and we were just looking for a dog, and we came across some Rottweiler puppies, and that started me on Rottweilers.
Aww.
And they're really great dogs.
Yeah. But like you were telling me, and we're going to learn today, that you really have to start training them when they're little and start taking your time and train them every day.
They're not for everybody, and they have to be trained constantly. It's when you're cooking breakfast or when you're sitting and watching TV, it's still a training opportunity. In one way, in another. It's not big steps, it's lots of little steps.
And then you add them all up, and then you train some more.
Absolutely.
And how old is he?
He is 2.
He is 2. Now, does your family like these guys? Your wife and
yes.
Everybody likes them?
Because they're polite too, so that helps.
Yeah.
When you have big dogs like this, they have to have their place.
Well, when do you think you should start training them?
From day one. When they get into your home, the first day, that begins the training. It's, again, small steps. You can't ask a dog to do something from here to here. It's lots of little steps to get them to where they have to be.
Now, how do you feel? What's best to train a puppy? I mean, to start getting his attention and, have him follow you. And
it's starting with yourself. You have to be able to control yourself and realize if you want to teach your dog to go outside, you have to take the dog out the same time, every day, same place every day, the same things every day. Your dog will pick up on that, and every day it'll do the same thing. It'll learn this is what you do. And you have to socialize your dog. So while you're doing that, you have to make sure that you're there petting your dog. You want other people to be with your dog, know your dog, so your dog knows who people are and what to do around people.
Now, you start doing that just when you're puppies. I think the biggest complaint that people have about bigger dogs, other than being yanked when they're walking them, but is them jumping up. When someone comes to the house and they go and then they jump up. Do you have any training surprises for us to stop them from doing that?
Well, I do, but it only takes a leash, and I don't even have a collar on him. I'm just holding him with a leash. It takes a leash, and you have to, if the dog, in this case, You sometimes have to set the dog up. It's just like a movie, and you set the places. This is what the dog's going to do. You know that, and you don't have to hurt the dog. It's just your voice. The dog knows the difference, and enough repetitive, and just a little bit of letting him know what to do, he'll do it by himself.
Well, I firmly believe in that hitting a dog. If a dog runs away and you finally get it to come back and then you beat it, I wouldn't come back if I ran away again. You know, it's common sense. You know, you might be upset with them because they ran away, you know, from you. But when they come back, you have to praise them and give them a treat. And I see so many people grab them by the scruff of their neck. You know, I told you to come and all that kind of stuff. And if I was that dog, if I left, I would never come back either. You could call me all day long. I'm not coming back for a beating. You know, you have to really have patience and love and patience.
That's the key word. Patience, words, patience and love. No matter what you do, you have to love them up. And they begin to understand that this is what you want. If you call them, they misbehave. Well, once you straighten them out, love them. You can't beat them. If you beat them, they're afraid of you.
That's exactly. And then they become confused, and then they do things that are just wrong. You know, they'll start running around in a circle. They'll start to pee if you raise your voice. I mean, there's so many tragic things come out of losing your temper just once with them.
It's very true. You can't do that. Your tendency is to be angry because you see if your dog runs away. But you have to think, well, that isn't what you should do with your dog. Your dog comes back, or you went and got to your dog. You went to your dog. It doesn't make any difference. You're loving them up. They start putting two and two together, and they think, well, this is where I should be.
Yeah, and things do not happen one time. It's over and over and over. And that's why when you get a puppy, you sit down on the floor with them. You don't put them on the furniture if it's a big dog. You sit down on the floor with them and you begin. And a lot of playing is really where you can start to teach them when they're puppies, correct?
Absolutely. People think that if you want to train your dog, you should be able to train your dog to do one thing, and that dog will learn to do that thing. I train my dogs to ring the doorbell. And it isn't that you can train the dog to ring the doorbell. You first have to get the dog way from the doorbell. I mean, you're bringing the dog physically close to the doorbell, but he isn't going to learn to ring the doorbell. You have to get him to think there's something there, and then slowly move your way up to finally, it could take weeks, it could take months. Finally, dog, you put all those little tiny steps, and the dog gets to ring the doorbell. People think, well, he did such a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a big thing. It's loving your dog, same thing. Loving your dog, patience.
Loving your dog and patience. And if you start when they're little and rewarding them, and it's your voice. It is, you know, it's really when you're training them, and it's that good boy like that, you know, instead, oh, good boy. You have to really get good boy like that. And they just, you know, raise their head up in the praise. And if you say, no, you know, no, and draw it out, and it's like, and those are the two things you start out, correct?
Absolutely.
With a puppy?
Absolutely.
With the puppy.
I mean, the mother dog would have done the same thing. The mother dog has different tones. When the mother dog is angry, the mother dog shows it in her tone, and we should mimic the mother dog. And they're from the wolf family. They say mimic the wolf family, and that's what we do. It's little tiny steps. They learn how to be a dog over a period of time. It's not from puppy to dog, and then they know what they're doing.
And you never see a mama maul them or, you know, hurt them or anything when they're little. She'll pick them up by the back of the neck and move them to safety.
True. The mom is always loving that dog puppy, and that's what we need to do. Always love these puppies.
Yes, when you bring them home, that's the most important thing, is because they're going to attach most of the time to one person, you know. But if the whole family can get down and sit down on the floor with them, you know, and call them so they'll come to this person and call them to come to that. There's so many fun ways to do things.
There are little tiny ways. Like I said, when you're cooking, your dog should behave. So you're training while you're cooking. You don't have to spend hours. 1 minute. 1 minute goes a long way.
Oh, he hears that noise
1 minute.
outside.
1 minute. It goes a long way.
You protecting us.
These dogs trust you too. And if they trust you, they will even go further. I take these dogs to hotels. I go through revolving doors. They're not trained to do that, but it's trust. They see you doing it and you're asking them to do that. You built up a trust with these dogs, with the dogs. And that goes a long way. Taking your walk with your dog. If your dog doesn't trust you, your dog's already unstable. I mean, he's leaning, he's watching everything you do.
And many times I see people walking them, and the dog's walking them, they're not walking the dog. And it starts when they're little tiny, you know, when you're taking them outside. And I know myself, this is how I do it, is I have my little tiny baby leash, and the second that they go in front of me, I just take that and just go, no, and bring them back. And they hear that no and relate to that, come back. Because I feel your dog is like a 2-year-old child, and you should have it right beside you.
You should, for its own safety.
For its own, right.
And for other reasons. When it starts taking the lead, then you have a dog that can bite somebody. You have a dog that can hurt you. See something and drags you, catches you off guard. A big dog like this can catch me off guard. And I ask him to walk by my side. I don't say, walk by my side. He knows what to do already.
And yeah, because him learned it from being a baby. Look at, oh God, do you know what combinations made these dogs? You know, like did they mix to come up with a Rottweiler?
Mastiff, and they're from the Mastiff breed.
Yeah, I know.
And the other dog, no, but there are lots of dogs that come from the Mastiff breed.
I've never been able to find out. I've always, because I research dogs, you know, how they became, you know, Bloodhound is and you mix it with a Beagle and something else, and you get a big long dog. What do they call with floppy ears? Oh, my brain's crazy today. What is that kind of dog?
Dachshund?
Yeah. No, not the Dachshund, but it's. It'll come to me.
Basset.
That's it.
Basset.
Now that's 3 dogs that they combined and brought down. And I've never been able to find out all that these guys come from. And that they were created.
I haven't found out the other half.
Because they're an old breed.
They are an old breed. They were with Hannibal when Hannibal crossed the Alps with his elephants. He also had these dogs.
It's amazing.
They are, all dogs are amazing. They're all different, and a person that wants to own a dog should research that dog and get the traits out of that dog. They should know their traits so they know how to best train that dog.
Yes, and if you're going to get a certain breed, you're lucky and fortunate enough to do that. But if you're going to get a mixed breed, lots of times they're just very good dogs. They're very intelligent and just very solid personalities. You know, once in a while you'll get one that like in anything in life, you know. But the mixed breeds are just as smart, truly, to learn.
Or smarter.
And to do. Yeah, I believe that. I do.
And it goes back to training again. If you purchase a mixed breed, you might have some undoing to do, particularly if it's an older dog. But that has loving your dog, training, 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 training. That it just patience. That makes a good dog.
Now, where did you get this baby from?
This one here actually is a rescue dog.
Uh-huh.
The family that had this dog originally was they had two, and the husband was in a wheelchair, and they called me while he was a puppy, and they couldn't handle this dog. They asked me if I would do that, knowing that I had Rottweilers before, and I said no problem, I would. And the owner and I, the past owner and I, still stay in touch.
And so there you came to be. And how old was he when you got him?
He was about 6 months or 7.
Yeah, that's when they get tough. The bigger dogs, when they get to be about 6 months old.
Correct.
Yeah, because they grow so quickly, and that's another thing that hurts my feelings for dogs. Well, he's 4 months old or he's 3 months old, and I just look at them and say, well, what does a 3-month-old baby do? Why are you thinking that this little one should know how to do this and he should know how to do that because he's 3 months old? He's only been on the earth for 3 months.
Well, that's true.
And people really do expect so much from them, when they're just little tiny. Even when they're 6 months old, when they're a year old, they still have to be watched over.
It's a constant training. And I look at it, this one's 2, but in reality, he's just a teenager. Right. And teenagers are going to make mistakes. They can do lots of things, but they're going to make mistakes. You don't have to put a lot of time into it. To train the dog, just have to think when you have the opportunity, then you take that opportunity. Just little tiny steps.
And that's it. That's the secret. And anyone that understands that, that's the secret key, is patience and love and knowing. And then all of a sudden, it does seem after they get to be a year old or 15 months old, it's like a magic, comes.
Well, and that's very true. It's very true. People that start owning a dog, they shouldn't look and say, my dog should be here and then be here. They should just look at it and say, well, I'm going to do these little tiny things. The far part will take care of itself.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Because they won't learn from point A to point B. There's lots of little points in between. What are you doing?
He's loving you, Dad. He says, I'm embarrassed. Everybody's talking about me and saying how cute I am and how good I am, huh? He is a good baby. Oh, and he's beautiful. His colors are just gorgeous. And his little face, little. But look at this. Oh, my. And see, this all comes from patience and love. And if you have children, you have to sit down, and my dad did, and so did my mom, sit down with us when we were little, because there was 4 of us, and say, well, if you want a dog, this is how it has to be. And until all of us behaved, up till I was 3 and my brothers were older, and we could be trusted, and my dad would watch and see how we went over to an animal, to touch it or, pet it or whatever, and we were being taught, then we got our doggie. But and kitty cats, it's the saddest thing. I think the biggest complaint I get from people about kitty cats is that they scratch to me. Well, read in a book or talk to someone that has had a kitten, and they will tell you, yes, the little kittens do scratch. They really do. They're learning how to hold on. They're learning how to bring their claws out, how far to bring them out, all the way or halfway. So they're learning too. Every day they learn a little thing. And you just, as a human being, have to realize you have to teach your children or example yourself to your children on how to pick a puppy up or how to pick a kitten up.
It's very true.
And it's very, very important that from day one, when it comes into the home, that you just don't run over and go, oh, look how cute, or what, you just don't do that. Because then that frightens the pet. Those things last forever.
Actually, when you get a new pet, the work starts before you bring that pet home. You need to research it. You need to talk, if you have children, talk to your children, because once that pet comes into your home, then the actual work is beginning. And they need to understand the pet is learning, and you're learning to be with your pet. And the opportunities, people don't understand. They think they have to take their pet to a school to be trained. That helps, but you can help yourself. Little steps at home.
I like the way you say that the owners are learning too, to be with their dog, because it's true.
It is true. You take a dog as big as Spike is, you have to understand there are things he is going to do by accident that he can't help. He is big. He's going to bump you. He's going to bump into things. If that isn't for you, then you need to get a smaller dog.
And when
can't
you
help
bring
that.
him home, when you got him, was he 6 months old? Oh Lord, I bet you he was really bumping, huh?
He was bumping. He was a little bit on the clumsy side. They all
They're
are.
funny.
They're in your way. And that just means you have to love them up more.
And that makes you love them. That's the funniest part of it, though. The more they're around you, the more you're going, and trying. Oh, I forgot you were there, or whatever. Open up the bedroom door, and they're.
You can't yell at them. They know what you're doing. I mean, if you yell at them as a puppy, that will be with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I think the first words they should learn when you bring them home, and that's just myself, is the word no. And that's when you take them from that. Take that, and while you're taking that off of them, you go no, like that. And then when they start to walk away, you go, good dog, good dog. And it just can't, before you know it, in 8 weeks, you can have them sitting, giving a paw, following you around. But it's all because you just were on the floor with them, taking your time. Because I don't think they learn how to jump up as much if you're on the floor with them in the beginning.
True. That's very true.
And you're down there with them, so they don't have to jump to get your attention or show you, I like you, or because that's what they're trying to do.
They are trying to do that.
They are. So I always felt with mine, we always sat down on the floor in the evening, and that's how we played, and we never had a jumper.
You said something that is really right on the mark. It's not just that you say no, it's the tone of voice. This dog speaks 2 languages. So you have to think, well, how can they understand 2 languages? It isn't just the language, it's the tone of voice. They hear a sound, and that tone of voice, with that sound, the word, then they know what to do.
And they do know when you say no, like that. It's before they just look at you like, when you're babies. And then when they're walking away, and you go, good dog. And it's like, and that's a pleasant sound, and they like that. And that's the beginning of a relationship.
Those 2 words, that's what they learn in the wild. I mean, they know what no is in the wild. They know what it is with their mama. They know what that is.
Oh, sure. Mamas can leave the cave and the babies stay in there. Now, when it comes time for them to be old enough, I could never understand how the little wolves or the little foxes, but they know it's okay to come outside. And the mother has to communicate that somehow to them, that you had to stay in the cave, but now you're old enough, now you can come out.
It all has to do with those sounds, and those sounds are similar to no and yes, and then they build on those.
And that's the building blocks of a best friend. Now, how long did it take him to bond with you when you brought him home?
Well, Actually, right away, because I would say within a day or so, because I spent a lot of time with him, and that's another thing. If you, particularly with a new dog, they want friendship. They don't want to be left alone. We don't know they were with other people or were with puppies, their brothers and sisters. We take them away. Well, we replace them with ourselves. You can't stick them in a box and say, well, I'll be back and I'll check on you in hours.
Yeah, or in a cage and see you later.
You,
Goodbye, 8 hours.
you have to spend the first little while lots
It's
of
very
time
important.
with them.
If you can, and you're going to get a puppy, I think it's really the best to get it like in the spring, because then if you have to get up, what you do in the middle of the night and go outside, it's a lot nicer going outside.
It's very true, very true.
Than going out when it's 10 degrees below zero waiting for the baby.
Well, you say a baby, it's like a baby, a newborn baby. You feed the baby a bottle every couple of hours. They wake up. Well, you have to think this is your puppy too. And the puppy has to go outside. So you should not let the puppy let you know. You think, well, the puppy's going to go out in 2 hours. Well, you got to get up, and it might be cold in the winter, but you got to get up, take your little walk, come back in with your puppy, and your puppy will now learn this. It's in a habit.
It's a habit. And a lot of times, and animals, they kind of really have it automatically in them. There are some that don't, but they do want to go outside to go to the potty. But a lot of times, like mom's out in the kitchen cooking and the kids are doing this or doing that, and they will go to the door, but no one's paying attention. And it's no one's fault. I'm not scolding anyone or saying anything like that. It's just that in the first 6 weeks, you really have to have the second eye on that little baby, because if you fed him and it's getting to be around time for him to go out, and maybe one of the kids come in and they fell down and your attention's taken away, and then they go potty, it's not that they're wanting to do that. It's just it was their time and they have to go. So if you can be there and get that door open and get them outside and tell them, good dog, then you're on your way.
You're on your way.
But you just have to really give them attention. And it just, like you said, it's so true. It's little baby steps, and then you start adding those together and adding those together.
And loving your dog and your puppy, that you really have to love this animal until it's a bond.
Yeah.
You have to think like a dog too. I mean, an example is lightning, let's say, and thunder. If you have lightning and thunder and you show, oh my goodness, I'm afraid, well, you can't expect your dog to be not afraid.
Really, I want people to know these big guys aren't that scary, if the right people have them.
Absolutely.
It has to be the right people. And like always, I want to say, remember the Washington Area Humane Society. They need beds, sheets and towels and bedding. And that's if you can't give it to the homeless and you don't want to throw it away, or some money. I really and truly love seeing you amongst the community when I'm out, and then you come up and tell me about a show that you liked, or you tell me about your kitty cats or birds. It really makes me feel very, very loved and needed, and I thank you for that. And like always, I love you. And thanks from all the tail waggers.